Hi folks, I did mention a couple of times already that I have seen the movie Endgame, and a lot of people have been asking me what I thought about the movie. Well, I haven't actually made a movie review on this channel before, but since I have, received some interest in this, I thought I would take some time to share my thoughts about this film with you. Now, don't worry, there won't be any spoilers in this video, and I would generally ask that you try and keep spoilers in the comment section to a minimum as well, though I won't be moderating those comments, so please guys, if you haven't seen the film, watch this video by all means, and maybe scroll down a little bit, just enough to hit that like button, but please don't go ahead and read the comments if you haven't seen the movie yet, but then do come back and share your thoughts once you have. So as I say, I saw the film yesterday, took the kids to see it. We all had a fantastic time. One of the things this movie has become known for a couple of weeks now, in fact, is the quite impressive 3-hour runtime. A lot of people wondered if 3 hours was pushing it a little bit for a superhero film. But I've got to say, it wasn't really noticeable to us. As a matter of fact, even my youngest didn't need to take a bathroom break. It's a long time for a 9-year-old to sit 3 hours, but, he managed it, we all managed it, and I'm quite pleased about that because I'm not sure exactly when would have been a good time to use the bathroom, since there's not many parts of this film that you really want to skip out on. That said, Endgame, I would definitely say, is a very different type of movie. Obviously, it's a superhero movie, but a very different type of superhero movie to Infinity War. And I do think this is important to understand going in. Now, why is this the case? Well, interestingly, I think it's because it's actually more of an Avengers movie than was Infinity War. Endgame really does spend time with each of the major characters that we've been introduced to over the last 11 years or so. And what that means, off the back of the previous movie, is that the pacing can at times seem a little bit slow. As I was sitting there and we was all watching, me and my family, I was a little bit concerned that perhaps, in particular, my youngest might have been a little bit bored, especially during the first act and maybe even into the second act of the film. As it turned out, when I spoke to them afterwards, he wasn't. He loved every minute of it. But at that time, as we were watching, it did throw me off guard just a little bit. Though I've got to say, I'm really glad the Russo brothers did take this particular route with the film. The aim of this movie, after all, was to wrap up the previous 21 movies of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And with Endgame, of course, we now have 22 movies in that universe, and these are all being collectively dubbed by Marvel as the Infinity Saga. So the goal here was to provide a satisfactory conclusion to pretty much everything that we've now been invested in over the last 11 years. And that's why I think we did need this substantial focus, this quite heavy focus, in fact, on the actual Avengers themselves. And so many who will be watching Endgame have actually grown up, haven't they, with the likes of Iron Man, Captain America, Hulk, and Thor, and all the rest of them. And so while there's still, and there really is, a ton of incredible, just absolutely fantastic action set pieces throughout the movie, that extra running time has clearly been devoted to the Avengers themselves. Now, while I've had about a day or so to process the entire spectacle, I've come to understand, I should say, how important it was for this to happen. The main Avengers themselves in this film, they were just incredible. I can't really say much else about that because of spoilers, but to witness how each of them has evolved from those initial movies to the point where we're at today is something that is truly special. It really is, I have to say. One point of contention, I guess, is whether there was too much fan service throughout the movie. And I can clearly understand why people would say that they did go overboard in this particular area. There is so much fan service in this film. Now, for me, I actually really enjoyed it, but that, I guess, is more of a subjective opinion on my part. So, if you are going to use the comment section, if you have seen the film, please do share your thoughts on whether or not they went overboard or not with the whole fan service department. If there's one area that I was really, or if we could say I was a little bit disappointed in, and only because the movie's so great, I picked up on this. If it was more of an average movie, then this would probably be one of the better parts of the film. But because the movie is so great, one of the areas I was a little bit disappointed in was with Thanos, the villain. And I think this is because the focus has shifted from him, which is where it really was in Infinity War, to the Avengers in Endgame. What that means is that his presence in this movie wasn't quite as hypnotic as it was in that previous film. Now, don't get me wrong, I absolutely love this character, and to me, Thanos really should be going down as one of the greatest movie villains in cinematic history, at least within the superhero genre. But I guess I wish the movie could have gone on for perhaps another 20 minutes or so, just so we could have had more of those awesome and epic Thanos moments. But I do suspect that there is literally only so much a superhero movie can go on for, in terms of its running time. And the 3 hours that it's already reached was definitely a brave choice, as it was. So overall then, which movie would I say that I preferred out of Infinity War and Endgame? Right now, well, I've not really decided. I'm still thinking about it. I am definitely a huge fan of both. One of the interesting things for me, as I think about things, is just how my own life has changed throughout the course of this particular adventure. I remember seeing that first Iron Man movie back in 2008, and it was just shortly before I actually got married with, and I actually saw it then with my fiance, who at the time was my fiance, now my wife, of course. But now, 11 years later, in the same universe, and I'm now taking my kids, who have grown up to the point where they are fans of this franchise, and they want to see these movies, as much as I do. There's definitely something unique about the entire Marvel experience, isn't there? And, that's just subjective to me, of course, but I understand that many, many of you also have your own stories as to how these movies have, or to rather how your life has changed through the progression of these movies. So overall, Endgame, it is a fantastic film. It really is a great movie. I noticed on Rotten Tomatoes that the critics have scored it 96%, I think, and the viewers, the audience, have scored it 93%. So kudos to the Russo brothers for actually making a film where critics and audience actually agree. A lot of films, a lot of movies over the last few years on Rotten Tomatoes have had a huge disparity between the critic score and the audience score, but this is one of the closest I've ever seen, both of which are in the 90s. So yeah, it's a great movie. If you're invested in the franchise, then it's more than that as well. It really is an emotional movie in many ways. But that's it for me, guys, so please share your thoughts of the film in the comments. Though I would, as I say, avoid the comment section if you haven't seen the movie yet. But when you have, please do come and stop by and let me know what you think. Thanks for joining me today. I'll see you next time. Goodbye.